Hey, welcome
Oh,
back.
thanks. Just tired. You hear snoring down here?
Huh?
You hear snoring down here, just really tired. The hotel's like right next to the hospital, you know, so you hit that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Downtown Ithaca?
Oh.
Well, it's like 1 block from the hospital, but still. But it was good. I did get clarification from AOT about things, so, but you probably already know exactly how it's all going to work.
With the what?
The even and odd,
Oh, yeah.
the Association of Towns was there to,
Yeah.
we got the explanation, so.
Well, we'll be working on something.
Thank you for all the stuff. Just came out of it.
I have a plan,
Oh,
and it's probably the best we're going to be able to do.
yeah, well, yeah, exactly, you know, it is what it is. Congratulations on your, oh my God. I love that email.
Oh, did you see?
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
I
Yeah,
see, I've only seen a couple of YouTubes,
yeah. There's some real good stuff on there, but but thank you.
but what an accomplishment, very nice.
Yeah, I wish I could have went farther, did more, but the weather just.
You know, wasn't cooperative. Huh?
I'd like to call to order the Chi-Li Town Board meeting for June 14th, 2023. Would everyone please rise and join us for the invocation and pledge of allegiance?
Heavenly Father, we are thankful for our country and the freedom we have as Americans. We are grateful for the opportunity to come together again tonight to serve the people of Chi-Li. We ask for your wisdom and guidance be upon all those present this evening. We ask that you bestow your blessings and protection upon all your people, especially our Chi-Li residents. We also pray for the success of our Chili Fest and for good weather so that all may truly enjoy it. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilman DeCory.
Here.
Councilwoman Spare. Here. Councilman Valerio.
Here.
Councilman Slatter.
Here.
Supervisor Dunn.
Here. Other officials and advisors present this evening. To my far right, Town Clerk Jenny Ignatowski. Also to my right, Deputy Town Supervisor Councilman Michael Slattery. To my far left is Council for the Town Jared Hurt. At the side table we have Commissioner of Public Works, Superintendent of Highways David Lindsay, Director of Finance Dan Knapp, Insurance Counselor Scott Bonnewell, and from my office Dawn Forte. Our stenographer is Sandy Hewitt. And at the event of an emergency, if you would please use the exits to the corner of the room. And at this time, anyone with a cell phone, if you'd please either turn it off or set it to vibrate, we'd appreciate it. We do have one presentation this evening, and that is for incentive zoning for 50 Air Park Drive. So I'd like to invite Jeff Cook up. And Jeff, if you'd like to give us a presentation on what you're looking at, we'd appreciate it. Sure. Here, we'll just pass it.
Thank you.
What's that?
You probably need
You
one.
want one? You don't have one? You got big boards.
I'm pitching for Glenn here, so
So we're supposed to be patient with you?
you're very patient.
We got extras.
You get your own?
Didn't know how many he had.
David, do you want one?
Sure.
Here you go.
Thank you. Jenny?
If I call, thank
Yeah, that's okay.
you. You got it.
My name's Jeffrey Cook. I'm the CEO of Cook Properties, and
I'm going to ask you one thing, if you would, please, Jeff. If you could go over by the podium, because the microphone picks up. This is all recorded.
Sure.
So the microphone will pick up the dialogue.
So should I have the public look at this?
It'd probably be-
Jeff, if you want, right over on this side if you want,
Okay.
please.
I can leave these here if you want.
We have the drawing, so I think it would be better for the public if they could see it.
I can walk around and
Way to go, Van.
Dana White, yeah. So like I said, my name's Jeffrey Cook. I'm the CEO of Cook Properties. We own 90 Air Park Drive, which is the office building to the east of the property, the subject property that I'm here about tonight. We bought this 50 Air Park, which is to the west of our property, about a year and a half ago. We were going to use it for one business venture, and that we decided not to go in that direction. So we have decided to do something else with it. It's a 33,000 square foot shell of a building. We want to convert that to indoor climate controlled storage. In addition to the conversion of the existing building, we also want to put up five drive-up non-climate controlled storage buildings, and those equate to approximately 27,000 square feet. So we are requesting an incentive zoning package to accomplish our goal here for this project. The main requests that we have are for side and rear setbacks for the existing and for the new buildings. The other thing we're looking for is a front yard front yard security variance, because we would like to put a 6-foot fence up front. And then lastly, just for the lot width. So a few things that we're looking for, again, as part of the incentive zoning request. That's really about it. I'll give you a little more history of the building. It's been we've owned our office building for almost 5 years now. It'll be 5 years this summer. It's been the building next door, 50 Air Park, has been vacant for about 7 years. Originally, it was built for a tenant, not by us, by the previous owner. Was built for a tenant, and I'm not sure exactly what happened, but the tenant never moved in. The build out was never finished. The bank, community bank, foreclosed on the property, and like I said, we bought it about a year ago. So we're looking to make the investment to again to convert it to the indoor and the outdoor climate controlled storage. Add it to, it's on the tax rolls, but obviously significantly increase the value to the community and for the tax rolls. So.
Questions from the board?
So Jeff, in regards to this, the proposed storage units, setback, how far away from the road, Scottsville Road, would that be?
So yeah, so we are, let me see here. I don't have a picture, but, so our building, this is right behind the Dunkin' Donuts on Scottsville Road. So and there's also, if you can think of Air Park Drive, from Scottsville, we're probably, the building itself is probably 400 feet. It's quite a ways back. With the existing Dunkin' Donuts and the used car dealer and the mixed-use retail office that's in front on Scottsville Road, you won't be able to see this.
Well, that's my point. That's where I was going to go with this. From a visibility standpoint, to be able to see it. I know when you look at the various storage units we have throughout our community, on King Road, you can see some of that from what they built on both sides. And then there's other ones that are shielded by vegetation, by other buildings and so forth. So you're going to be sitting back. And then also what you have around you. Can you describe some of the area in case people aren't aware of the other businesses?
Of course. So to our east is Amchar. It actually looks very similar to the building in question. It's just a metal 2-story manufacturing type facility. To our west is the RG&E facility. To our immediate west is their storage yard for all their electrical equipment and what have you. And then further to the west is their office building.
Yeah. Which are multi-story stories, so it's not like a single floor type of structure.
The RG&E building is I believe 2 stories, maybe 3, but I'm pretty sure it's 2.
Right.
Amchar is 2 stories.
Right.
Our office building is 4. The 50 Air Park
is 2-story in the front, and then the back is, call it 1.5 stories.
And the storage unit would be within that area of your two current buildings?
Correct, it would all be on 50 Air Park.
Right.
So the front of the building would look as it does now. The storage units would be in the back of the building, and this particular parcel actually does an L shape behind our building.
Correct.
So the additional storage units would actually be behind our building.
You know,
The people that would see the storage units the most are us.
right. So then in regards to the pathway that's back there, the bicycle path, jogging path, I know the training facility, the Army, the military, they utilize that. How close would you be to that?
Again, we would still be obviously within our lot. I've never been back to the path there. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. I'm guessing probably 50, 60 feet.
Okay.
But the one thing we do want to do, which, I mentioned in our request, is we want to have fencing all the way around the property, not only for our security, just to, to keep everything in, so.
And also there's, when you go along the Genesee River, there's a storage facility over there by Brooks Avenue, in that area.
Correct.
Charlie Avenue, so, which is close to that trail as well.
Yep.
I know they have the storage, or the fence that goes through there, and I believe theirs is electric, because just that proximity to that bicycle path, but.
Yeah, we wouldn't be electrifying it, or barbed wiring. We would have a gate, that would be closed 24/7 and just accessed by the
Sure.
tenants.
So, that's all I have for right now, but thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Any other questions from the board? So this is an incentive zoning request, so this would, with the permission of the town board, this would next then go to the planning board for their review and to vet the project, and then come back with a recommendation whether or not the project is right and the incentive is right for the project. So I guess I'd ask the board if there's any opposition to sending to the planning board for that review.
Doesn't this also have to go before the zoning board because he's asking
No.
for variance?
It's,
It doesn't?
no, the
Right, so
variances are
zoning.
included in the incentive.
Incentive.
As a
Gotcha.
part of the incentive, so
Just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
all that will be there. So if there's no objection, I would recommend that we send Mr. Cook to the planning board for their recommendation from here.
Well, I think that's also important to mention that we've done this in the past, previous administrations as well, but I think it's important because that's their training, that's their background. They're the professionals when it comes to that. They're going to dissect this more than what we are, but I think it's important for Mr. Cook to come in and just explain the location of it, the proximity of the other buildings around them, and then, how it, when you look at what you're proposing here. So I just want to say thank you, but yeah, I think it's important to have their opinion, so.
So with that, Mr. Cook, make arrangements with the building department to get on the schedule for the planning board, to have them review the project and come back to us with a recommendation.
Okay, great.
You're all set to go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we do have a public hearing. The public hearing is for the incentive zoning request for 296 Fisher Road. I would ask, oh, you're already there. John is up here will go over, review this with us. We know that they've been before us before on this. We did send this over to the planning board. Should be noted, the planning board did make a positive recommendation for this project. So, John, you can take it from here.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. My name's John Sharaba with Landtech. I'm representing Tauk Development this evening. Mr. Dan Thomas, the owner of Tauk Development, is here, can answer any questions that I cannot. I'll keep this very brief. I know that the town board has heard this speech a few times, also the planning board as well. But we're looking for incentive zoning of this 5-acre parcel of land located on Fisher Road. This is right in front of the RG&E substation on the east side of Fisher Road, right where the Niagara Mohawk power lines cross Fisher Road as well. We think this is a good use of a property because it's already quasi-industrial in this area, and we're proposing a flex space project. These are 3 buildings that will have different suites for renting out to contractors, hobbyists, and things such as that. This site has access to public water, gas, electric, and sanitary sewer. And the site, I think the layout that we currently have, and we look forward to presenting to the planning board in more detail in the future if we do get the rezoning. But the buildings are pushed off the road at least 150 feet off Fisher Road. Everything in the project is oriented inside, so the buildings themselves will buffer the neighbors. All the lighting and doors and things will be pointed inside. We think that this is a need within the town of Chi-Lai, that these spaces are available for contractors to store their equipment and supplies. Other than that, we look forward to moving forward with this project. Hope you agree with it.
Thank you. So I would ask then, if anyone here, I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak at the public hearing, please step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you will be heard. This is on the 596 Fisher Road.
296.
296, I'm sorry, 296 Fisher Road. Did you want to speak on this? Please step up to the podium, name and address for the record, please.
Daryl Clemens, 226 Fisher Road. I've been in the neighborhood 33 years. It was an older neighborhood from the beginning, but now it's a more kid-friendly neighborhood. There's a lot of up-and-coming families in the neighborhood. It's becoming congested with traffic now. The kids wouldn't stand a chance as fast as those trucks go up and down Fisher Road. It wouldn't be a good idea to bring more traffic onto in that area. And we're asking it to be shut down just for that reason alone. I mean, it's too much traffic on the street as it is now, and the trucks fly up and down there. And if it's going to be contractors coming in and out with their semis and their dump trucks or whatever, there's going to be a problem. I mean, between the school buses, the group homes, and everything there now, like I said, it wouldn't be a good idea for the kids alone. We're asking for it to be shut down.
All right. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak at the public hearing? Yes.
Barbara Williams, 330 Fisher Road. I just have a few questions. Does the town know which end people tend to access that area? Is it from Chi-Lai or from Behan? From other traffic studies?
I don't know if I can answer that. I don't know. Yeah. We have not conducted any traffic studies that I could refer to on that particular road.
Okay, because I'm sorry, go ahead.
It may have been a long time ago. Maybe Wegmans did something at some point, but would have been a long time ago.
Okay, just looking at the map and where the entrance to the property is, looks very small. So I'm just wondering if the gentleman talking about large equipment, I mean, I can envision trying to get into my driveway and being behind I don't know, a tractor or a slow-moving vehicle. Could you talk a little bit about the kinds of...
You direct the questions to us, if you would, please.
Oh, okay,
and
sure.
We will
so I was just curious about that.
Okay, we'll direct the applicant to answer.
Oh, okay, just curious about that. And, well, I know that you said the lights from the buildings would be directed towards the center. Will there be very tall lights in the parking lot that would be visible? I mean, because our property is so long, we have a buffer from seeing the RG&E building and planes on the runway, and even the trains. We hear them, but we don't see them. So my question is, will there be tall lights in the parking lot that are going to disturb our enjoyment of our property?
I'm going to just make a comment, but you're going to get your answers, but I'm going to make a comment. Those definitely are things that are more related to the planning board application should this go to a site plan, so lighting, traffic, and those things addressed. The town board here is charged with determining whether or not the project is worthy of the incentive zoning, to change our zoning to allow this project to go in there. The rest of it, how it's built out, is up to the planning board. But I am going to ask either John or Dan, if you could answer both of those questions, we'd appreciate it.
Thanks.
Go ahead.
So I guess what I'll start with is access to the site. So we have a private driveway that will be gated, that will be 24 feet wide. I think if you look at measure Fisher Road, it's probably around 22 feet wide. So this will be a size to handle anything that is needed for any commercial project. It's typical town standard, 24 foot wide with the turning radiuses to access the road. So I don't see that being an issue.
John, if I could real quick, I don't know, Mr. Thomas can answer this. The size of the vehicles that would, you'd be able to get into the property, are you looking at tractor trailer size, or are they smaller, like 10-wheelers?
Yeah, they're mostly, tractor trailers would be on occasion if there was some need, but we're not proposing any, major tractor trailers, but mostly step vans, landscape people with trailers and things like that.
Right.
City trucks, we're not providing parking for.
When you say
tractor
city
trailers.
trucks, what do you mean by city?
Like step vans, like you mentioned.
Okay, all right. So
Contractor truck, not 18-wheelers. We're not.
a box truck type thing, right? Okay, something, because when you talk about your turning radius in the road, because I'm going to go to Mr. Lindsay in a minute. One of the questions I'm going to ask him is, when was the last time that a traffic count was done? Because I know, county roads, state roads, they put out the traffic counts. They see the volume of traffic that goes through there. And the supervisor mentioned Wegmans, when they did their development, which is pretty large, that they were, something was done back then. So as far as getting the tractor trailers in there, they're going to have a little difficult time maneuvering it. Would they have to back into the property, or could they pull in and then just be able to circle around through there?
Yeah. Again, we're not proposing a major access or major portion of this for tractor trailer traffic. Not to say that some might not get a big delivery once in a while, or during construction a large truck has to come in. But we're not proposing them to stay there overnight or rent to a facility that needs an 18-wheeler.
So then for a truck to come in there to do a delivery, then it's maybe you're talking type of product that there's pallets inside the truck that they're going to unload a pallet, not the full truckload. Is that something that, am I not accurate with that?
So I can't.
Depending upon what businesses you have, it's going to be hard to answer.
Yeah, and again, a lot of these, like I mentioned, let's say it's a landscape company. A lot of these uses are really not intensive. They might have mowers there, or they might service them, but they just pick up supplies there and go to the job. This is not where people really work all day. And I think, going back to your question about 18-wheelers, I think within the configuration, although that's a rather small scale, I don't think we'll have a problem showing turning movements for 18-wheelers to get through there. It's just not part of our business model at this time.
Yeah. And then when you look at, you talked about 24-foot wide access. When you look at a residential driveway, basically you're talking 20 feet, and then you'll have that 5-foot radius down at the apron by the road. So keeping it in perspective, it's no different than, pulling into a parking lot or, a residential driveway. So.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a little bigger in a sense. The fact that we want to make sure it's can handle two-way traffic in that area, and we'll meet town standards, and we're aware of the details required by the town of Shiloh.
Yeah. So okay.
The board will require them to have a traffic study done anyway, right, for the project?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, depending upon the impact
Okay.
of what they're proposing.
Yeah.
Necessarily.
The other question was regarding lighting and things such as that. So I did mention that we're focusing everything internal to the site. So the backs of the buildings will not have doors on them. The garage doors all face internally. We're proposing building mounting lights currently, but we probably will have some pole lights that will be town standard. And as I know this board knows, and I know the planning board will hold us to that standard of dark sky compliant, where we can't shield light off our site. So we'll work with the planning board, hopefully in the future, regarding the lighting and show lighting contours, so make sure we don't negatively affect the neighbors.
In general height of these lights? I know we don't want to seg in the planning board,
Yeah,
but
I would say like some 16 to 22 feet in that range would be what we normally see for a pole-mounted light in facilities like this.
right. No. I just want to try to, if the people have questions, they may be thinking, what's the height going to be? So.
Yeah, yeah, it's not going to be like a Wegmans parking lot where you got a 100-foot pole.
Right, yeah. And I don't want to be a John Nowicki and do planning board stuff now.
Thank you. All right, thank you, John.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak at the public hearing? Steve? Oh,
Here's Steve.
Bob Williams, 330 Fisher Road. I just wanted to mention that a traffic issue that was brought by my wife and this gentleman over here. I think Fisher Road, I've been there for over 40 years, gets a lot of traffic. I would recommend a traffic study because a lot of people going to Henrietta and parts south use Fisher as a shortcut to get into Chile and Gates. So there's a lot of people that don't live there that use that road back and forth, and unless you live there, you're not going to be aware of that. With that in mind, I would just think that a traffic study would be almost imperative for the neighbors that live there. It's busier than one might think already. So that's my biggest concern.
And thank you. And I would encourage anyone concerned about the actual site plan, which is what we're basically talking about here, that should this project end up at the planning board for site plan, then that I would highly recommend that you show up to those planning board meetings and say, make your recommendations and show, those are the things that they need to hear from the public as far as traffic goes, lighting goes, egress, ingress, egress. Those are all planning board issues that I'm sure that will be well received by the planning board. All right?
Supervisor, if I could, real quick, Dave Lindsay, I know you guys have been before us a couple times before, and some of this has already been discussed, but a weight limit for that road, is it seasonal or is there not one?
There is an existing posting on that load. I believe it's on that road. It's at 4 tons. I think it was probably not related to the structural integrity of the road, but maybe to limit truck traffic, given the residential character of the street. We don't do regular traffic counts on our roads, but the state DOT does, and the most recent one that they did was 2019, and they had a average annual daily traffic of 980 with a truck traffic of 42.
42 for trucks, 900. And just for an example, for comparison, if we just mentioned the Bean Road, just to look at that, I don't know if you have access to that.
I do. If you just want to give me a moment here and see if I can find that for you.
We can put you on hold, have some music.
Please don't sing.
Average annual daily traffic for Bean Road is 3,786 with a truck traffic of 290. That was done in 2019 as well.
All right, so third. Okay, thank you.
Steve?
Hello, Steve Janowski, 19 Hubbard Drive in North Charlie. Part of the answer I did hear. It's the weight limitation on Fisher Road. I did work for a gentleman at one time that lived on Fisher Road, and the weight limitation and the egress on that road, they do drive fast. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It needs to be patrolled even more than what's being done. But with the weight limitation, is the road really rated for it and account? I think that might be in order. And that was the question that I was going to ask. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak at the public hearing for 296, make sure I get it right this time, Fisher Road? Yes, sir.
Mark Petralis, 232 Fisher Road. I have the same concerns as all of them, traffic, and I'm raising a family, 4- and 3-year-old. We have enough traffic, school buses. We have a home across the street from us with their buses. They're coming in all day, speeders, the egress. They come down that chute, and they're well above their 30. That's my worry.
If I can, real quick, you said the house across the street with buses that come and go all day? Group. Okay, thank you. I wasn't sure where with
We're
it.
always stopping traffic there.
Yep.
It's on top of a hill.
Yep.
You can't see.
I didn't know when you said buses coming and going all day, I didn't know what type of facility it was.
And he's talking tractor trailers.
Yep.
What else? Backhoes,
Yep, so, okay.
dump trucks.
Thank you.
More traffic.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak at the public hearing? Yes, ma'am.
I just have, my name is Lori, and I just have a comment about incentive rezoning.
Address, please?
What?
Yeah, the address.
29 Ballantyne.
Thank you.
I have a comment about incentive rezoning. I'm not quite sure I understand why Chi-Li is rezoning properties and disrupting wooded areas when there are many vacant buildings and vacant lots that are already zoned for commercial and industrial. I don't live on Fisher, but I wouldn't want this flex buildings built, down the street from me either. There's plenty of spaces to build these commercial buildings without changing nice, quiet neighborhoods and increasing traffic and increasing noise when we purchased our homes to live in a nice, quiet area. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else would like to speak at the public hearing? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. We don't vote on this tonight, so the next time this could even possibly come up would be at the Chi-Li Town Board meeting in July. Moving right along, we do have the public forum. Anyone wishing to speak at the public forum, please step up, state your name and address for the record. You shall be heard. I will remind people that you have 5 minutes to speak at the public forum. There is no dialogue from the town board. We will address any questions related to any particular resolutions, if necessary, when the resolution comes up, but there is no dialogue with the town board on this. So anyone wishing to speak, please step up and...
Linda Schmalthus, 35 Attridge Road. Thank you all for your service and concern for our community. And congratulations, Mike, on your endurance and completion of your bike ride.
I was blessed. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
My husband and I have lived at 35 Attridge Road for nearly 46 years. It seems that you do not realize the impact of the rezoning of property at Buffalo Road 4415 and 4423, the impact this rezoning will have on our home on two sides of our property, which would be affected. This will significantly decrease our market value of our home and the quality of life our family currently enjoys on our property. It appears you are silencing the community, who are the taxpayers and who voted you into office, by canceling the on-site meeting on Monday afternoon this week. There are many other people than those who received the within 500 feet letter who live immediately adjacent to the property. People have concerns and are opposed to this rezoning proposal. I have personally spoken to nearly 230 individuals, residents and non-residents. Non-residents enjoy visiting family and friends in our neighborhood, eating at the North Chi-Li Family Restaurant, and being a part of the current fabric of this North Chi-Li neighborhood. Both have concerns about the impact these additional apartment units would bring to North Chi-Li. Concerns were mentioned to me as I told them that I would be their voice and present them to the board tonight. You need to know what they are. Foremost was the traffic concern, speed on Union Street and on Buffalo Road. Difficulty getting onto Union Street, either from the plaza, from Parkway, from Union Square Boulevard. The number of cars cutting through Parkway to Springbrook to College Drive in order to get on Buffalo Road. A light is needed there before fatalities occur, like what occurred at West Side Drive in Union before a light was installed. The second most concern was crime. For the first time, vandalism has occurred in the Senior Development College Green, and the vandals were from the Union Square development. Also, police calls have been increased in Union Springs in that area. Union Meadows people told me about that, Cherry Blossom residents. And there's a city policeman who lives on Cherry Blossom. He does the night shift. He gets home early in the morning, like 3 or 4 o'clock. And many times he sees people walking in the neighborhood. He keeps his uniform on, he grabs his German Shepherd dog, and he walks it in the neighborhood to deter any other incidents and to let them know there's a police presence in the neighborhood. There also is a burden on the school. I spoke to a teacher who lives on Gilead Road, concerned about crowded classrooms and not enough staff. On Springbrook Drive, grandparents were concerned about the increased classroom disruptive behavior with this recent increase in the enrollment. Christina Drive, A parent of a fifth grader recently said 2 other kids jumped one of his classmates. On cornflower, a grandparent said, the buses are so crowded it's 3 to a seat, and they choose to drive their grandchildren to school. Another is stress on the internet service. There's a young couple on Pleasant View Drive who are working from home, as many people are, and they are having issues being successfully able to work at home. The lack of sidewalks was an issue, especially from West Side Drive to the plaza. Also, their wish is high all the way to Black Creek Park, which would be wonderful. Increased litter was another concern. I personally pick up at least 2 grocery bags of Wegmans size every time I walk Union Square Boulevard.
30 seconds.
So the litter has increased significantly. Also, the lack of green space was mentioned, damaging our environment and negatively affecting our air quality. We're getting increased pollution, we're getting rid of our trees, etc. And there was a nice request for a plaza facelift in North Chili. It's inconceivable how you expect us, the community, to agree to this rezoning when we have not, when you have not explained adequately what is being built in the property. Is it high-end or is it income-based? I have a petition with these.
Ms. Schmalfish, your time is up. You have 5 minutes and your time is up.
Okay. I still have a petition.
May I give the lady my time, please? 5 minutes.
So here I have 418 signatures that demonstrates the opposition in our community to the rezoning of this proposed board.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak at the public forum? Yes.
Zoe Christanis, 31 Hubbard. North Chili is classified as a hamlet, which is a small community or settlement. That has been obliterated with all the endless clearing of land and construction of rental units. How do we define ourselves now? What have we turned into? We all bought homes here for the beauty of mature trees and landscape, the joy of having wildlife to watch, and small-town neighborhood feel, and the individuality of every home and yard here. No two are alike. This gives us our character and personality, and that's how we like it. 4423 Buffalo Road is zoned single-family home because this is the appropriate use for this land. It is surrounded by other single-family homes except for the medical building. To stuff a bunch of sterile assembly line buildings with no character in the center of these homes and yards is just wrong. Out of place, out of character, and an eyesore. This lot had a home on it when purchased by the developer that was then bulldozed, a perfectly good house. Why was that done? Now comes the rezoning consideration to multi-residential. What kind of precedent will this set if approved? Who is to say the next lot doesn't get bought and that home bulldozed, and so on and so on? I own a double lot. Can I bulldoze my home, apply for rezoning with incentive, and put up a row or two of townhomes for monthly income? What's the difference? Where does this stop? A line needs to be drawn before all we are known for is apartments and townhomes in North Chili. We need more single-family homes for the middle class, for first-time homeowners and others. This developer builds apartments, townhomes, plazas, storage units. He can build single-family homes. He chooses not to. It's the same labor and materials, different profit margin. The North Chi-Li community has united in agreement that we oppose this rezoning. It may not exactly conflict with the 2030 Comprehensive Master Plan. However, it is not desired, appropriate, or the right thing to do by your residents. It is a can of worms waiting to be opened. Please do not. We voted for you to act on our behalf, not the developers. Do the right thing for us. We will remember it. Thank you.
I'll let the lady go first. About manners.
My name is Kathleen Netter. I live at 82 Attridge Road. I am here again to ask that you deny the rezoning application to change the zoning at 4415 and 4423 Buffalo Road to multifamily residential. As you know, the Town of Chi-Li's master plan states that the R1 residential district is intended to promote and encourage a suitable environment for single-family living and to protect and stabilize the residential characteristics of the district and existing neighborhoods. Any rezoning of these parcels to multifamily clearly goes directly against the heart and intent of this master plan. I ask that you honor the intent and purpose of the master plan that was designed to protect our single-family neighborhood. Any rezoning to multifamily will push our neighborhood over the breaking point that other projects have currently brought us to. Crime has become rampant in the already built projects, with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office going down to Union Square on a nightly basis. Vandalism has become a serious concern and problem at Chi-Li Green. Dollar General has even had so many shopping carts stolen that they have had to alter them so that they can't leave the store. Our electrical grid is past its current capacity. We have weekly, sometimes 2 and 3 times a week, more outages happening frequently. RG&E has not and does not have any plans to update our outdated grid. Any new multifamily project will push us further into massive outages. Our internet and water pressure resources are also at the breaking point now. Our community neighborhood has done our share of multifamily housing. We can't take any more. In the 8/17/22 Town Board meeting, Mr. Dunning expressed on the written record that he would not support any rezoning in a highly concentrated area, which we are. We already are over inundated with multifamily housing. We ask that you honor your word now and deny this rezoning application. We are asking you to do the morally right thing and protect your Chi-Li constituents and deny the rezoning application. Over 400 of your constituents have signed a written record voicing their opposition to this rezoning. Please honor and respect their voices. Please stop this now and prevent this from going any further. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve?
Hello again. Name Steve Janowski, 19 Hubbard Drive. I've lived in the town of Chi-Li since 1960. Been there, seen it all. And I know all you folks well. It's in regards to Resolution 158. This property here, that the medical building, they want to rework that as an apartment building with 12 units, from what I understand. Could be less, but just the same, that's commercial. They threw the dentist out of there, basically. And there used to be doctor's offices there. Now, in regards to the property next door, the open lot, there was a house there. It was a red one, as I recall. That was dozered over. There's a swale there. The planning board and zoning both were told about this ditch that goes in the back. All these houses are flooded. The town's supposed to be clearing it, as was stated. Now I'm going to go with the state part, Buffalo Road, in front of Bob Marinjakowski's house, the ditch. It hasn't been cleared for 3 years. And I did register a complaint with the state. And it happened to be over on Union Street, the Western District, to be dug out. Yeah, they patched a couple holes, but that, as far as that goes. And then going across Buffalo Road from the north side to the south side, that ditch, including, that's always plugging up, backing up the water. Houses are getting flooded. Yards are flooded. So much for pure water as such. You have problems there. And if you look in the lot next to the medical building, state law says if the grass gets over 12 inches, it's supposed to be cut. Well, guess what? It's over 2 foot. And these people bought it and they want you to change this incentive? You have to be out of your mind, excuse that expression. But this should not happen. And the neighbors do not want it. Single family, R1, I have no problem with. We have bare minimum. I just had a house built in 2013. I had no incentive. I lost the house to a fire. I deemed to rebuild back in this town. I put one up larger, and I had to go by all the rules. Now, by golly, from somebody outside the town, or whomever the case may be, they want to do it for the almighty dollar. And we get the assessment. We're not even going to get into that one. That's totally ridiculous. Because my home, it was assessed by the town, and then 3 times it gets increased. I haven't changed any square footage. I haven't done nothing. You guys assessed that number, not I. No. You guys went on the assessment point and agreed with the state on that. Well, you just crammed it in my ear. I'm retired. I'm 73 years old. I've lived in this town. I've seen what's happened, and it's wrong. You need to stop and hold these people accountable. You buy a property, do what you want? Well, guess what? This is a lawless town. It's totally unacceptable. And you folks need to really buckle down and tell these people what part of no isn't understood, the N or the O. Now, I said my piece, and it's wrong that this is being done and forced upon the rest of the residents in this town. Otherwise, you guys are going to be gone. You're going to bury yourself. That's all I'm going to say on that. I am opposed, and you did get that information before a vote, and I think it'd be very wise to
30
table
seconds.
this until you have all ALL information. Thank you very much.
Like to speak?
Sorry about that, sir. No, it's all right.
Hi, I'm Vince Falco, 94 Attridge Road. We have concern of additional traffic. One concern is the speed. They're averaging 50 miles an hour when you put the town speed limit sign up past my house. And it only records up to 50 miles an hour. So all these cars are going 50, 75, 100 miles an hour. They're going so fast that I can't even see what they are. We got the kids now coming from Union Square are riding four-wheelers and dirt bikes up and down the road. We got tuners coming from there racing up Attridge Road. We have 12 studio apartments possibly being built on the corner where the medical building is, and that will dump into Attridge Road, which is a wider opening from Buffalo Road, which is going to cause untold problems with the cars going in and out, crossing over Attridge to get to Buffalo Road. And if they open it up to the new supposed 32 more apartments in the empty lot, then you're going to have all those cars crisscrossing back and forth across Attridge Road. It's going to be a nightmare. We have juvenile activity coming from Union Square now that they're casing our cars. They're looking to see if our cars are locked or unlocked. They're walking through our yards. They're scaring some of the women because they look out there and there's kids looking at their cars to see if they can get into them. It's getting ridiculous just where we are at right now. Now, if you put new apartments and studio apartments, it's just going to make it that much worse. Thank you for listening.
Anyone else like to speak at the public forum? Donna?
Hello, I'm Donna Beliveau. I live at 12 Berry Lane in North Chi-Lai, which is near the post office there, in a neighborhood of houses near Buffalo Road, which is within a mile of the two lots that we're talking about. I'm here tonight to give some information to support keeping the zoning of the two properties, single family and general business. You've heard from various people tonight as to the already existing problems, the traffic, increased crime, the internet, garbage debris, water pressure, and power outages. And it's all due to losing that hamlet reputation that we used to have with so many apartment complexes so close. There are real concerns that we have, and I, just like the other people that spoke said, we bought our homes in residential areas because we wanted that sense of neighborhood community. We wanted the experience that goes with that. We did not want to be populated with more transient apartment dwellers that after a year or two or three move on and don't have any pride in the community that they live in. That transient, to me, is a key word that we're talking about here. I looked into the apartment complexes at the intersection of King Road and Union Street. There's 8 apartment complexes within half a mile. 8. So that's crazy as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if you realize that there was that many. I then made some calls, and Linda Schmalfus did too. That's 926 units for rent in a half a mile radius. How many people is in 926 one-bedroom, two-bedroom, three-bedroom apartments? Maybe 2,000 people, maybe 2,500 people within a half-mile radius. We're not talking 5 miles. And we homeowners have to deal with all of that congestion and all those people. So I ask you on the board to do you think we should have more apartments built in addition to these 8 complexes? That's already, I don't know, crazy. So I drew a rough map of the intersection.
Thank you.
Shows all of that half-mile radius.
Thank you.
So if you looked at, that's King Road to Union Street.
Would be right here.
8 complexes, 926 units. We don't want more rental apartments at all in North Chi-Lai. The people that bought their houses around the lot 4423 knew that it was zoned residential. The Schmalfuses knew that theirs, next to theirs, 4415, was general business. I don't think it's right to just up and change the zoning and to now have more multifamily homes when we've already got 8 there. We're doing our job of housing people in these complexes in North Chi-Lai. We don't need to do any more. I have a friend that's a realtor. She's always saying her clients need smaller, more affordable houses, 2- and 3-bedroom ranches. That would work really well there. There's already some like that in Hubbard, so it would kind of just extend the population that's there. And those 2- or 3-bedroom homes, those people would feel good about owning their own home, maybe a small yard, but it would be their own yard. And isn't that what we want to see in North Chi-Lai people? A sense of pride, a sense of ownership. So I ask you, the Chi-Lai Town Board and Supervisor Dunning, are we talking about what's best for the North Chi-Lai community? The thought of rezoning away from single-family dwelling is not what's best. I ask that you look at the map again, and do we need more apartments? No, that's the last thing we need. I would ask that you vote to keep the zoning as it is, not to change it. That the developer could build on some land that doesn't already have, that's not already
Seconds.
populated by 8 apartment complexes. Go to some other location. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak at the public forum? Yes.
Good evening, Supervisor Dunning and Town Board members. My name is Valerie. My family has owned the property on 51 Attridge Road for over 3 generations. And thank you again for the opportunity to speak with you. Last time I enumerated the many affordable housing available in North Chi-Li, and I might add with many more housing units being built even as we speak. Location, location, location. That's what many a home buyer or renter takes into consideration when choosing where to live and where families choose to live. And they choose our area for the proximity to good schools, quaint stores, beautiful green spaces, natural habitats, and even land for a veggie garden or two. Kind of like a pastoral area with less traffic congestion, less noise, less litter, less crime. However, this is a very small parcel of land to propose 20 housing units, and it reminds me a lot about the 1970s song by Joni Mitchell, and I think all of us here are old enough to remember that.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
He's old enough.
They paved paradise and put in a parking lot. Well, would you believe North Chi-Li has been our paradise for many of us for many years, and we would like the zoning to stay the same with the real possibility of having other issues addressed, like traffic studies, more sidewalks, drainage issues addressed, upgrades in our grocery store. I can remember when the Super Duper changed their name 5 times in 60 years. Super Duper, Food Town, IGA, back to Super Duper again. But it's still the same area. We need an expanded grocery store. And I even heard individuals say that they would like to see more fine dining restaurants, and maybe even an Italiano ristorante. And together we can enjoy a meal, sit down with our builders, but I don't know, are our builders here tonight? No, okay. Well, manja, okay? And that would be a good idea, wouldn't you agree? Thank you.
It's me again. My name's Lori. I'm from 29 Ballantyne. And again, I don't live in this area, but I will say it again, that I don't understand why Chi-Li is continually rezoning properties for additional tax revenue. We have purchased our houses to live in nice neighborhoods, small neighborhoods, and regarding the rezoning of 2 parcels on Buffalo Road, which if I read the environmental assessment form properly, they equal about 4 acres, and changing it from a single-family residential to a multifamily residential, you're inviting more people, more traffic, more congestion, more noise, and possibly more crime. This area is a single-family residential area, and it is not consistent with the predominant character of the existing built or natural landscape. This neighborhood and these proposed townhouses and apartments back up to older single-family residential neighborhoods. These 2 lots currently contain wetlands regulated by state and federal agencies and provide living space for wildlife. I have nothing against renters, but adding more apartment complexes to Chi-Li is changing Chi-Li. We have a ginormous apartment building that took away acres of green space over on Paul Road by Wegmans that sits there empty, even though construction began there 3 years ago. Please consider not rezoning this Buffalo Road 2 parcels to multifamily residential. If there was a plan to build this next to your house or down the street from where you live in your nice little neighborhood, would you still approve this rezoning? Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak at the public forum? Yes, ma'am.
My name's Kathy Kaminsky, 4222 Buffalo Road. I had no intention of speaking tonight, so this is kind of coming off the cuff. I'd just like to agree with pretty much everybody here. I've lived in my house for over 20 years now, and I've seen a major decline in the area in regards to all these apartment buildings popping up. It doesn't matter high-end, low-end. They're still apartments, multi-people. Their green space is disappearing. Traffic, especially around Attridge, is already difficult. Imagine adding all these people and all the new cars. We need to do better with what we have. There's no reason to rezone. Keep the zoning as it is. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak at the public forum? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name's Alicia. Our family home is 51 Attridge Road. My main concern, along, with everything else everybody has spoken about, is the amount of water that's going to be running off onto our properties. I have a couple pictures of the retaining pond that was put in across the street on Buffalo Road. I believe Perna did the development, and they put in a retaining pond to collect the water. And I took a couple pictures last month of this pond, just so you get an idea of how much water this is going into this pond, which is right across the street. That land is elevated, so naturally this water is going to continue coming down. Now, in that little triangle, they're going to pretty much cover the entire thing with the street, the pavement, all the driveways for 20-something units, the buildings themselves. It's just going to leave very little grass, so that runoff has to go somewhere. Now, I know the architect mentioned a retaining pond. In the diagram we were given in the initial mailing, I see something that looks like it could be a retaining pond. I don't know, we're already struggling with the water as it is. I can't imagine, this small pond is going to make that much of a difference. I just want to say I agree with everything that everybody has said tonight. I have a couple pictures. I also have a picture of, it was taken again in April, of after a rain, on that corner section, which the medical building is right over here. It's right behind that, I believe it was a service station or gas station, right on the corner of Attridge and Buffalo. And that was after a rain. And you can see all the water now is puddling around this fire hydrant along Attridge Road. It's not draining. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Mistaken. Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak at the public forum? Seeing none, we'll close the public forum and we'll move along to the agenda. Under matters of the supervisor, just like to remind everybody that Chili Fest is coming up on the 24th. We have the parade, I believe, at 4:30. It's going to take the usual route down Paul Road, up and then up into Chi-Lai Avenue, and then down into the community center. Just want to remind the town board and any parade participants that may be listening or here that there is a section as you come into the community center that is a no candy section. We are not to be throwing candy at a certain section. The Parks Department, I believe, does not want to be cleaning up suckers and gumballs and things like that as it comes in. Plus, there'll be a lot of people walking in that area, coming in and out of the facility. So I'd just like to remind everybody about that.
I'll make sure that mine won't last.
You'll be eating it also.
Well, that's why it won't last.
So there's also a 5K race that night, and then at night there will be, we do have the top band this year, I believe, is a band called Trist. And, yeah, it's something new, something different. One of their guys is actually a Gates Chi-Lai fireman, so their lead singer in the band is a Gates Chi-Lai fireman, so it'll be kind of fun. And there'll also be a 5K race again, and the fireworks will go on at dusk.
David, you might also want to add that they're looking for more volunteers. If anybody wants to help on around some of the turns for the 5K race or anything else, you can call the rec department if you want to volunteer a little bit of your time.
And if you want to do it, walk or run. You can walk or run. You can sign up for it, have at it. As our town clerk knows that the supervisor does not partake.
Can I ride a bike?
We've had that discussion. I'll ride the bike. I'll ride my motorcycle.
No, I'll ride my bicycle.
You can ride your bicycle. All right. That's fine. Other than that, we'll move along. Matters of the council. Anybody have anything?
Supervisor, if I could, first I just want to say thank you for that acknowledgement, for that bicycle ride that I did, and for the town board, for David and the town support. It was a very emotional and inspirational adventure riding from Rochester to Florida for those three charities. But the community has been outstanding. The support has been great, and I just wanted to say thank you for that. So I was blessed.
I'll take some of your time because I also want to say thank you for what you do. I worked with you for a long time now, and I've watched, it's kind of like, I don't want to say the Grinch, his heart grows bigger, but it seems you started out with a very, very big heart to begin with, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And once you retired, it seemed to be your mission to make sure that you were giving back to not only this community, but to others around, all around, with Honor Flight, the Pirate Toy Fund, helping out a lot of underprivileged families get something that they really need. And of course, missing exploited children. I know there's something very, very close to your heart there, having, and I think, and it may be wrong, Michael, but you know, with Brittany Drexel, I think that brought a lot to you. So the work that you do on behalf of all those organizations and the representation you also bring to the town and to this town board, I just want to thank you and say,
I'm blessed. Thank you.
Nice job. You have the.
You're going to make us all cry, David. Here.
I'm halfway there myself, so I got to tell you, you know, it's just amazing what you do. It really is. There's things that nobody else does. A lot of other people don't do that. A lot of people talk about helping and doing things for other people. And Michael, you stood up and you did it. You know, and it just, and to drive, I'm sorry, it's insane. Drive from Rochester to Florida, where you ended up, was, you know, incredibly dangerous one.
At some point.
We all know. A couple of spills, but it's incredible. It takes a lot of courage, and
there's plenty of great people out there that do so many things that are behind the scenes that we don't hear, we don't see about. You know, I was just the vessel to bring that message. You know, when you talk about, you know, Brittany Drexel, who I coached in soccer, who grew up with my twin daughters, to see, you know, the family keeping the hope, and over there, it was 12, 13 years when she was finally found, and visiting the memorial in Myrtle Beach where they have for Brittany, and speaking with the people at the, around the memorial. So, I mean, we videotaped a number of things, so if you went on michaelscharityRide.com or go to YouTube, you could see it, and just the interview with people that we had right there. We had a gentleman just walked up to us and just started talking to us, telling us about, his knowledge, experience of, Brittany, because it was in the news. So many different people down there. And then having a cousin that was abducted and murdered, and her body was found, but the killer never has been. Or Pirate Toy Fund for the toys that they raise year-round for kids in the hospital, underprivileged families, kids with special needs. And then in Washington for Honor Flight, which was the third charity, and meeting with the veterans. And at one point, when we went around with the veterans to the Vietnam, the World War II Memorial, Abraham Lincoln's, and with these veterans, just at one point there was no dry eye. And there was one veteran there was a school from Michigan there, and all these students, and he had their attention. They just stopped and they listened to him, and he told him about their experience. And it's just, until you see it, until you do it. And the veterans, they can't take their spouse with them when they go on the trip. They have to have a guardian, and that guardian can't be their spouse. And it's therapeutic for the veterans. And I apologize for taking up people's.
Thank you for your service.
I'm blessed.
Yeah. All right. Before we all have Kleenexes and things, we'll move along. So we do have the approval of minutes from the last meeting, and also there have been several reports that were submitted. Under correspondence, the town of Chi-Lai received notification that Judy Bogoski, school crossing guard, is retiring effective June 21st, 2023. Do we have a replacement?
Yes, we do. We have one lined up.
We do have one lined up?
Yeah.
Always looking for backups if anybody's interested in being a school crossing guard. Certainly, we always look for people to kind of get on our short list of possibilities. Probably could use a substitute or two, right?
Yeah, we'll have the replacement full-time one on the July meeting agenda, and we're advertising for a part-time.
Okay. So if anybody's interested in part-time crossing guard, I think Judy's post was Paul Road School, I believe. So, yeah. So if anybody's interested, let Mr. Lindsay know. So moving right along, we do have old business on the table. I'm going to move to remove from the table Resolution 152, tabled on May 17th, 2023.
Moved.
I moved it.
You
seconded it?
I second.
I moved it. Councilman DeCory seconded. I'm just going to do an all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So we'll move right on to the remove them from the table does pass. Resolution 152, the demolition award for 768 Marshall Road, tax map number 134.17-3-91. Moved by Councilman DeCory. Seconded by Councilman Valerio. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Councilman DeCory.
Aye.
Councilwoman Spare.
Aye.
Councilman Valerio. Aye. Councilman Slattery.
Aye.
Supervisor Dunn.
Aye, passes 5-0. Resolution 158, lead agency for seeker determination, the rezoning of the westerly portion of 4415 Buffalo Road, general business, and 4423 Buffalo Road, R115, residential single-family, 15,000 square foot minimum lot, to RM residential multifamily district.
Supervisor Dunning, if I may, to include within this resolution, I'd like to amend the current resolution as it stands. Any and all references to the full environmental assessment form shall be amended to reference the short environmental assessment form. So simply replacing full environmental assessment form with short environmental assessment form.
So that's basically the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paragraph down, or 6 or 7?
Yeah, 6th paragraph.
Yep.
It's also referenced in the last paragraph as well.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So on the resolution as amended, do I have a motion?
Move.
Moved by Councilman DeCory. There's a second? Second by Councilman Valerio. Questions or comments?
And this is just for the lead agency for the seeker
This is just for
determining.
seeker,
Right.
yes, it is.
This isn't voting on the changing of.
Correct, this is
zone.
just on the
Just so
seeker.
people are clear in the audience.
As amended. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Councilman DeCoury?
Aye.
Councilwoman Spare?
Aye.
Councilman Valerio?
Aye.
Councilman Slattery?
Aye.
Supervisor Dunn?
Aye, passes 5-0. Resolution 159, rezoning of westerly portion of 4415 Buffalo Road General Business and 4423 Buffalo Road R115 Residential Single Family, 15,000 square foot minimum lot to RM Residential Multifamily District.
Moved.
Moved by Councilman DeCoury,
Second.
second by Councilman Valerio. Questions or comments?
Yes, Supervisor. I had an opportunity to review the last town board meeting minutes. I watched the video, and I heard the public comments. I heard some of the town board comments, or the town board comments that were made. And just my observation, some points I want to just point out. And this is going to go, there's points on both sides. When you look at the zoning that the current property is, and I think you were very clear when you stated what could go there now. Burger King was the one that I heard a lot. I'm more of a Burger King than a McDonald's guy, so I like that. But anyways, the gas station, and when you think about the usage, and then the clientele, people are coming in there, what hours, time of day, talk about litter, debris, traffic, and so forth. So, that, and I can't really see one going in there, but right now that's what it's zoned for. And then I would say, in a sense, sort of shame on the town if that's what the zoning is. Well, I think we need, if it passes for the rezoning, that's one thing, but if it doesn't pass, then I think that's something that we should look at to see how, what we can do for that zoning in the future. Because when you talk about, somebody brought out the Greenwood townhomes next to Wegmans. You go back years ago when they talked about the big box store, the no mall on Paul. It's always been the transition from commercial, slowly getting back to residential. And, then I listened to Mr. Janowski, for example. He said he's, where he is, he's been in Charlie since 1960. Then I've been in this town for a long time. I stepped away for a little bit, but came back. I went to the old community center as a preschool, right there on Buffalo Road. And then if you remember that area, you would remember there was a diner that was right on the northwest corner of Buffalo and Union Street that was almost right on top of the road. Where the current road is now, you couldn't have that because of how close it was proximity-wise. There used to be an ice cream stand that used to be on Buffalo Road. And and then how Jake's and the owners of that, going back then, how they had the store, the strip mall across the street, the plaza. So you look at how that area has changed, and things are going to change over time, and then you look at where I live now, but you go back years ago, there was a builder that built 3 generations of their builder with 3 generations of my family, Earthborn Builders. We all talk about development. We don't want to see development. Well, the house you live in, somebody had to develop it. You had to move there at some point. It wasn't there before. So whether we like change or not, change is going to happen, but we have to be smart about it. So I just want to keep that in people's minds that, we say we don't want to see that development. Fortunately, it happens. People, I hear they want a new Italiano. I could go for some gnocchis myself, but anyways, if you want a new restaurant, well, where are they going to go? They're going to have to knock something down, or they're going to have to build something new. So if you want it, it's got to go somewhere. And so you can't have your cake and eat it too, so we just got to be open-minded about that. Neighbors complaining about traffic. Well, the speeders, I'll be honest, I live on Attridge Road. I see the speeders. I see the litter. Where they coming from? Some of them are my neighbors. And that's what we hear when, the highway superintendent, former liaison to the traffic advisory committee, you hear it. People are complaining about speeders. You look at, they're your neighbors. That's who's doing it, the majority of them, because they're going there up and down that road 2-3 times a day. I had the same problem. I had to go and talk to my neighbor about their kid. Unfortunately, that's something that we try to deal with in the sheriff's department, being a short staff and under person they are. They're doing the best that they can. One of the residents put up, made mention about the speed sign. Absolutely, it shuts off at a certain point, and I've seen that, because they're only going to know, what they're going, it's only going to register, but they still know what the speeds are. I heard, when I watched it on video, one of the neighbors complained about hunters. I put a trail cam up in my backyard, and I caught my neighbor and his relatives hunting on my property. So there are neighbors that are hunting on my property. So taking my family and other families, lives in jeopardy by being there. Neighbors complaining about renters. I'll be the first to admit I was a renter. I mean, how many people haven't been renters? It's about how you brought up your personal pride and what you do and how you maintain it. So if you care about where you are and what you do, you're going to take care of it. Somewhere along the line, maybe they got that disconnect within their family, and these renters, they don't care anymore, or certain ones don't. But there's other ones that do. And going around campaigning, you see that, or having friends in different areas, you see people that take care of their properties. There was a person that spoke who actually they rented their part of their property to college students. So when they talked about college students moving in, I know that they rent it out to Roberts students. So we have to be honest and be upfront if when we talk about things. Assessments, if the housing market what it is, I mean, my assessment's gone up every year. And supervisor and I've had this conversation. My wife's had the conversation with the supervisor, and believe me, she's Italiano. I mean, me. So, but so she, so we've dealt with that ourselves. The developers, when I listened to the developer and his engineer talk, he talked about the stipulations at his facilities. No flags, no garage doors open, no street parking, doesn't build single family. Well, single family, if you did, maybe you could fit them in there, but one of the residents mentioned cost. It's not cost effective. Right, somebody's not going to go into business, start a business, and they're not going to make a profit, so they have to do something that's worthwhile. I know with North Charlotte Family Restaurant, they only serve dinner, one night a week, and that's Fridays. So it'd be great if they were open more. But then you look at the maintenance of the property and then how they maintain that medical building. They maintain it. I go by there multiple times a day, and you just see the condition of it. You see the other property. So it's not something that they take lightly. You can see that they care. More apartments. The area is saturated. Absolutely. When you have luxury apartments, affordable housing, subsidized housing. One thing I didn't see on here with the 2 group homes, I didn't see the nursing home on here as well. That is back in that area. Before my dog passed, I would walk here. We would do the loop. Go up Attridge into Linnea, down Union Square, Union, Buffalo Road, back up Attridge. We'd walk the thing, every day. And so I would see it. I would talk to some of my neighbors I know. I would hear about the debris. I would hear about the garbage. I would hear about the speeders. I would hear about the sidewalk plow. They didn't plow the sidewalk, or the people that are plowing in these areas that are blocking the sidewalk because now they can't walk through, or kids that have to walk into the street because the sidewalk's blocked. I would hear all that. The church selling the property. That the building, they built a building there that they haven't finished in 25 years. And now by selling that property, now they're going to have those new townhouses or whatever they're going to be building. They took away a soccer field. They took away a green space. So, that's impacting our area. Power outages. I live in the area. Our power doesn't go out twice a week. I know the water pressure. I know. I deal with it. It's good. So there's some things that, I just want to be realistic about. 4-wheelers, dirt bikes. I agree 100%. They come out of the subdivision. They're flying down Attridge. I forgot how many years ago there was a guy on the dirt bike that actually got seriously injured because he was out at night in the dark with no lights, and an accident occurred. But the dirt bikes and 4-wheelers, yes. I heard rezone additional tax revenue. Well, if they build something there, we're going to get the tax money. So it's not going to be additional. If they build something on the property, whether it's rezoned or not, you're still going to have that tax dollars. It's, it's just a different type of development that they're going to do. So, but those are just the points that I just wanted to bring up that I heard that, that I thought were interesting, and I'm sorry for taking up too much time, but, I just wanted to get that out there before we move forward, so.
Thank you. Yeah, the one thing I'd like to make perfectly clear, because I think it was stated here now twice, the town board does not do assessments.
Correct.
We do not assess your property. We do not set the value of your property. We have absolutely nothing to do with that. That is between our assessor and the state of New York. There's a method in which is defined by the state of New York that the assessor has to do with the value of your property, and we all know that values of properties have been skyrocketing. And if you don't know that right now, then you're missing something. You've missed you don't watch any television, read any news, but property values are way up. But I want to be clear, we do not assess your property. And
I wish I did.
And despite I kind of wish you did too, because your wife can be a little brutal sometimes.
Carry in, carry out part, right?
Yeah. So
Supervisor, can I just make a couple comments about this
absolutely.
resolution? I appreciate everyone coming out to the last meeting and tonight. I appreciate all the comments. I agree with a lot of the comments that were made tonight. A lot of great points. I've lived in this town for 42 years. I think some of the issues that were made could be attributed to any of our, neighborhoods that we live in. Things like speeding, litter, overgrowth in certain areas. The other day, one of my neighbor's kids passed me on a double line on Chestnut Ridge Road, and I'm like, do I go talk to his dad about it? I mean, those are issues that we all deal with. The apartment issue is something that I think a lot of us struggle with. But on the other hand, struggle with because of the issues that you all brought up. On the other hand, I have younger siblings, I have friends looking for a first home. Maybe they're looking to upgrade for a second home. Maybe they're looking for a first home. And we talk about assessments. The market is impossible right now. People are paying, 200 plus, 250 plus for homes that used to be 130, 140. Even, a couple of years ago, buying a house for $250,000, $300,000. Now that house is almost $500,000. And unfortunately, a lot of people, new couples, have no choice but to rent and pay $2,000, $2,200 a month for a two-bedroom apartment. And I agree to an extent that North Chi-Li has done its part, that Chi-Li has done its part. But on the other hand, developers wouldn't be building these apartments if there wasn't a massive demand for them, especially on the higher end. And I work with plenty of young couples in their 20s and their 30s that they rent, and they rent for 5 years, they rent for 10 years because they can't find a house. They get outbid. They go into these wars with 30 people, and they can't win a bid for a house. And so it's just a really tough issue, and I appreciate both sides of the argument. I think whatever happens tonight, I think it's important, if it does pass, that people go to planning board and share their feelings, because, just because we saw a plan here, we saw a plan, you saw a plan at the last meeting, that doesn't mean that is the final plan, because it still has to go to planning board, correct, Supervisor? So that was the developer's plan, but that doesn't mean it's the plan that's going to be approved. So obviously, if this is approved by our board, it goes to planning board, and we would encourage everyone to share their feelings that you've shared here tonight with them. So thank you again for coming.
Any other thing? The only thing I'd like to add, if I could, is one of the fears that I have is the developer owns the property. He has the right to develop the property in some way, shape, or form. As it stands right now, certainly the residential lot that's not being maintained at this point in time, I'm not sure if they've cut it down. I haven't been up there and if they mowed it down. That will continue to not be maintained, which maybe you're comfortable with that and you're okay with that. I do know that the developer has been working with some businesses that wanted to do another development here in Chi-Li that was to bring a car wash in. And one of my fears is that this group of people will be right here back in front of either us or the planning board. It won't be us, but likely, because we have nothing to do with if general business, if a car wash. And then like Councilman Slater, I think the unlikelihood of a McDonald's or Burger King, or I prefer Long John Silver's myself, if you don't mind.
No, I heard that at the last meeting.
But, you know, if something like that was to go there, it could. Unlikely, yes, absolutely, it's not the right location, but anything of a general business nature could go there. You could get your Italian restaurant, that could go in there very easily. And I fear and I believe that, you know, this same group of people would be in opposing that. And the developer would be fully in his rights without any, it's likely something like that would pass, get through the planning board with the right site plan. There'd be no way for anybody to stop it or for it to go away. So that's one of the things I think about, and I try and think long-term. And as morbid as this may sound, but someday all of us will be gone, and there'll be new people living in our neighborhood. Do they want to move into a neighborhood, and will your homes be valued the same way they are or being valued today if there's a car wash or a Dollar General or a 7-Eleven or a Burn Dairy or whatever, you know, going into a spot right next to you? Do your properties have that value? And will future generations look at something more palatable as the transition, as Councilman Slattery brought up, that is part of planning, and is an appropriate part of planning, to go from a general business or from heavy, dense, which is the plaza, and to some degree the service station on the corner, which is, I think, has changed a little bit about some of their businesses they do there, but to transition away from something directly to residential. I live in a neighborhood, if you know where I live, you know I live in a neighborhood that had that proposal to have very, very heavy commercial right across us, basically right next door to my home. We fought to keep the residential that was criticized here tonight, the property on Paul Road that's supposedly vacant. Well, it's vacant because it's not finished, and it's not finished because of a lot of issues around supply chain and labor and things like that. They're trying to work very hard to get that project finished. But, you know, we fought to keep that there as a transitional piece between the more heavily commercial of the Wegmans and the shopping over there to the residential area to the east of it. So, you know, I believe in transitional type zoning. I think it's in the best interest of the people, best interest of our communities, and it helps maintain the value of our properties. So that's just something I'd like to offer out there is, you know, maybe be careful what you ask for. You might just get what you don't want, but. Yeah. Anybody else, anything? All right. So we've been moved and seconded. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilman DeCory?
Aye.
Councilwoman Spare?
No.
Councilman Valerio?
Aye.
Councilman Slattery?
No.
Supervisor Dunning?
Aye. Resolution passes 3 in favor, 2 opposed. Resolution 160, Recreation Department.
Move.
Second.
We'll take a brief pause if you don't mind.
Who moved it?
No, this one.
Yeah.
Just recreation.
Recreation? Oh, that was me.
And Mary second.
Yeah.
All right. Can't say anything. Steve, could you take that outside so we can continue our meeting, please? All right, I believe we're okay to start moving on. Resolution 160 was moved by Councilman Slattery, seconded by Councilwoman Spare. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Councilman DeCory?
Aye.
Councilwoman Spare?
Aye.
Councilman Valerio?
Aye.
Councilman Slattery?
Aye.
Supervisor Dunning?
Aye, passes 5-0. Just so you know, Michael was here earlier. He intended to stick around, but he had an appointment at 8 o'clock, so he had to leave a few minutes early.
Is that who I saw?
Yeah, that's who got up that
Okay.
was over here. So he meant to be here. He was sitting right over here in the red
Red
sweatshirt.
on.
To see the chair, the third, fourth one in.
Resolution 161, seeker status for adoption of local law of 2023 to amend Chapter 369 peddling and soliciting of the Town Code.
Supervisor, I'll move Resolution 162 as well, adoption of local law of 2023 to amend Chapter 369 peddler solicitation of the Town Code.
I'll second them both.
Resolution 161 and 162 were moved by Councilman Slattery, seconded by Councilman Valerio. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Councilman DeCory?
Aye.
Councilwoman Spare?
Aye.
Councilman Valerio?
Aye.
Councilman Slattery?
Aye.
Supervisor Dunning?
Aye, passes 5-0. Resolution 163, agreement with IntelliCorp.
Move second.
Moved by Councilman DeCory, seconded by Councilman Slattery. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Councilman DeCory?
Aye.
Councilwoman Spare?
Aye.
Councilman Valerio?
Aye.
Councilman Slattery?
Aye.
Supervisor Dunning?
Aye, passes 5-0. Resolution 164, peddling and soliciting fee schedule and application form.
Moved.
Moved by Councilman Valerio, seconded by Councilwoman Spare. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Councilman DeCory?
Aye.
Councilwoman Spare?
Aye.
Councilman Valerio?
Aye.
Councilman Slattery?
Aye.
Supervisor Dunning?
Aye, passes 5-0. Resolution 165, seeker status for adoption of local law of 2023 to amend sections of the Town Code to remove imprisonment from penalties and offenses.
Supervisor, I'll move Resolution 166 as well, adoption of local law of 2023 to amend sections of the Town Code to remove imprisonment from penalties of offenses.
Second. Oh,
Resolution 165 and 166 were moved by Councilman Slattery, seconded by Councilman Valerio. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Councilman DeCory?
Aye.
Councilwoman Spare?
Aye.
Councilman Valerio?
Aye.
Councilman Slattery? Supervisor Dunning?
Aye, passes 5-0. Resolution 167, ARPA SLFRF funds, world's largest snowball fight.
Move.
Moved by Councilman DeCory. You don't want to do it, do you? You don't want to seconded by Councilwoman Spare.
I'll do it.
Questions or comments?
sorry, Michael.
Roll call, please.
Councilman DeCory?
Aye.
Councilwoman Spare?
Aye.
Councilman Valerio?
Aye.
Councilman Slattery?
Aye.
Supervisor Dunning?
Aye, passes 5-0. Resolution 168, 2023 budget amendments.
Move.
By
Second.
Councilman Slattery, second by Councilwoman Spare. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Councilman DeCory?
Aye.
Councilwoman Spare?
Aye.
Councilman Valerio?
Aye.
Councilman
Aye.
Slattery? Supervisor Dunning?
Aye, passes 5-0. Resolution 169.
James, can you tell us what it is, please?
I like heard about an active list.
He's in there.
Resolution 169, moved by Councilman Valerio, seconded by Councilwoman Spare. Questions or comments?
James?
Roll call, please.
Councilman DeCory?
Aye.
Councilwoman Spare?
She's got her hand up.
Raising her hand. Does that work?
Aye.
Councilman Valerio?
Aye.
Councilman Slattery?
Aye.
Supervisor Dunning?
Aye.
Why did it last
Passes.
this long?
Passes 5-0. Resolution 170, established letter of credit for Kings Crossing self-storage.
Move. Second.
Moved by Councilman Slattery, seconded by Councilman DeCory. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Councilman DeCory?
Aye.
Councilwoman Spare?
Aye.
Councilman Valerio?
Aye.
Councilman Slattery?
Aye.
Supervisor Dunning?
Aye, passes 5-0. Resolution 171, transfer to equipment reserves.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Valerio, seconded by Councilwoman Spare. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Councilman DeCory?
Aye.
Councilwoman Spare?
Aye.
Councilman Valerio?
Aye.
Councilman Slattery?
Aye.
Supervisor Dunning?
Aye, passes 5-0. Resolution 172, ARPA SLFRF funds, senior bus.
Moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Spare,
Second.
seconded by Councilman DeCory. Questions or comments? Roll call,
Are we
please.
selling the other one? I'm gonna keep both.
David?
Are we keeping both, or are we gonna?
To be determined.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Why, you want to buy it?
No.
Partridge Family.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Councilman DeCory?
Aye.
Councilwoman Spare?
Aye.
Councilman Valerio?
Aye.
Councilman
Aye.
Slattery? Supervisor Dunning?
Aye, passes 5-0. Resolution 173, letter of credit release number 1 for Greenwood Townhomes Phase 3.
Move.
Moved by Councilman Slattery, seconded by Councilman Valerio. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Councilman DeCory?
Aye.
Councilwoman Spare?
Aye.
Councilman Valerio?
Aye.
Councilman Slattery?
Aye.
Supervisor Dunning?
Aye, passes 5-0. Resolution 174, contract amendment, Archer Road Municipal Park Project. Moved by Councilman Valerio.
Second.
Second by Councilman DeCory. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Councilman DeCory?
Aye.
Councilwoman Spare?
Aye.
Councilman Valerio?
Aye.
Councilman Slattery?
Aye.
Supervisor Dunning?
Aye, passes 5-0. Resolution 175, set a public hearing for local law of 2023 on a 6-month moratorium for smoke and vape shops in the town of Chi-Li.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Slattery, seconded by Councilwoman Spare. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Councilman DeCory?
Aye.
Councilwoman Spare?
Aye.
Councilman Valerio?
Aye.
Councilman Slattery?
Aye.
Supervisor Dunning?
Aye, passes 5-0. Resolution 176, use of Brick Walk Fund.
Move.
Moved by Councilman Slattery,
Second.
second by Councilman DeCory. I'd just like to say you might notice,
Yeah, they were working
this
on
is an Eagle Scout project.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
We got an Eagle Scout out there pulling the bricks, power washing them, getting things cleaned up. They did break one brick today, though, I noticed that, so I don't know what you're gonna do about that. Not with a name on it, though. There's no name, so. Any questions or comments?
No.
Roll call, please.
Councilman DeCory?
Aye.
Councilwoman Spare?
Aye.
Councilman Valerio?
Aye.
Councilman Slattery?
Aye.
Supervisor Dunning?
Aye, passes 5-0. Resolution 177, June 7th, 2023, abstract.
Second.
That was good timing.
Resolution once moved by
You were on
Councilman
Eastern
Valerio,
Daylight Time, he was on Central.
seconded by Councilwoman Spare. Questions or comments? You must be a terrible coach. Roll call, please. That's good timing.
Councilman DeCory?
Aye.
Councilwoman Spare?
Aye.
Councilman Valerio?
Aye.
Councilman Slattery?
Aye.
Supervisor Dunning?
Aye, passes 5-0. Just like to announce that the town board will have a special town board meeting on June 29th at 7 p.m. in this room. And also, the next regular Chi-Li Town Board meeting will be July 12th at 7 p.m. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Chuck?